Hey everyone, how you doing? Today I'll be talking about a special documentary, and I love to say special documentaries because we're gonna talk about some iconic people in these documentaries that I do talk about, and this one's based on Jose Romero. I know there was one on Night of the Living Dead. They already did a documentary before that, before this one, but this one is special because this is Jose Romero's Resident Evil documentary, which is talking about the Resident Evil video game and his making of the commercial and how that commercial could have led up to a full length movie. So, with that being said, you got people that are fans of his work. You got people that met him face to face and they became directors. You got a guy that's curator of his museum, and you got audio from Jose Romero, of course. And it talks about Jose Romero's beginning when he did Night of the Living Dead, how it affects a lot of people, how it inspired the horror community and the movie community in general. And then it kind of leads up to Japan when they start talking about the Resident Evil video game, how popular it was, and how it inspired a video game called Sweet Home, which I did play that game, which was really cool. I wish there was an English translation of the game so I could play it a little further. And by the way, I did enjoy the movie version of Sweet Home, which you could check the review out on this channel. But besides that, George Romero icon. So anyway, they talk about the Resident Evil video game, how popular it was, and then how Constantine Films owned the rights to the movie rights of Resident Evil. They bought the rights to it, and later on, you find out that Capcom, Custom Films, ended up getting George Romero to do like a commercial, which you can see on YouTube. And then you found out later on in this documentary, which I did not know about personally, that there was a longer version, and people felt like it was like a short movie, and and the people like wondering like this could have been a movie instead. And so as that progressed, it progressed with George Romero was working on a script for the full length version of Resident Evil, and there was some scenes that was cut out when the script was leaked. Some characters was like changed around, but people ended up liking it. For some reason, Capcom or Constant Films didn't want to do it, and it was kind of weird, which I still don't understand to this day why you would not have George Romero direct a Resident Evil movie. But yeah, it gets to that point, and it talks about the leaked script, what happened. It also talks about the when Paul W. Anderson got the rights to do the movie and his take on it, which we all know how many sequels they have with Mila Jovovich. And on a personal level, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not taking anything away from those movies. I feel like those movies were fun, and Paul. If you see Paul Anderson, and his movies, his movies are like action and fun. Like it's not perfect, but still fun. And that's what Resident Evil movies are to me. Like they're not like, and they got Easter eggs and homage to the video game, of course. But I like Mila Joseph as a lead character, a unique character. And while you got other characters from the video game around it, they make it their own. So I kind of like it. It was not predictable. And Jose Romero's version of Resident Evil was the same thing also. He had a lead character that was new to the Resident Evil universe, and like he was a visionary. The guy, Jose Romero, know what he was doing. You could tell he did his homework on the Resident Evil video game, and he had a lot of material that Capcom gave him to study on. So he did his homework. I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much, but when you see this documentary, you see how much of a visionary Jose Romero is, how smart of a scriptwriter this guy was, how he could take something like a video game franchise and make it his own, but playing homage and respect to the original source material. Like he was good. Like wow, I was so amazed. Like again, I don't want to spoil it. You got to see this documentary. By the way, you can check this out on Amazon Prime. So let me say that, and it's out right now too. So it's available. You can check it out. Hopefully, it'll be on Tubi TV eventually. So if anybody don't want to spend Amazon Prime money, but yeah, hopefully it'll be on Tubi. But then it also talks about like the Resident Evil later movies, the remake, um, yeah, and the rise and fall of how everything came about. All in all, like I said, this is a very good documentary, especially if you're a fan of Resident Evil video games and a fan of Jose Romero and what happened during that time. This is a must see. Not only for a horror fan, or a zombie fan, or a horror fan, for a movie fan in general. You can learn a lot from this documentary. And like I said, you can learn about Jose Romero's script writing style. It's like he was definitely a visionary. You can just tell. and this will give you awakening. Like, wow, this man was amazing. Anyway, peace and over and out.